Well, this is simply incredible. And I'll tell you what, the other day I was talking to a best friend of mine, goes by the name John Paul. And a while ago, 2013 to be exact, we worked at a engineering firm together. We were concrete technicians, soil testers of the earth. We do soil densities, you know. You take it was radiation. It was like uranium. And they had to be locked up, and they had the nuclear symbol on them. I mean, one could argue that maybe they were bombs. I don't know. I don't know why we were allowed to travel around with uranium. But you think some Russian terrorist or Mideastern terrorists, like, who were the people that attacked Marty McFly? Did they have towels on their heads? I think they might have had towels on their heads. Anyways, we did that. We did rebar testing. I was stationed at a Google plant in Council Bluffs while it was being built. Huge facility. People knew then. I mean, it's probably AI stuff, but all the workers knew then that we were creating and building Skynet. In the porta potties, it would be scribbled on the walls, "This is Skynet. Terminator is coming." That is not a joke. That is not me joshing around. So, yeah, that was a wild thing. Like, they have just rooms, the biggest warehouse buildings you've ever seen in your life, just floors and floors of servers. And then they have to be constantly cooled down. So there's these huge fans in there. And then it's right across from like a nuclear power plant. I think it's nuclear. And, they just have the cables and the electricity going straight to it. But then they have diesel generators hooked up to them all. And like huge, just tons of diesel fuel under the earth pumping to these things because, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of wind to cool down these servers. So we worked at this place, and we were just talking about it recently because I had wrote an article about this dude, Trevor. I guess I should leave his last name out. I don't even know. I don't know if he still works there or not. I'm gonna have to ask my buddy, but he got a crotch rocket, and I wrote this article about him. And then I put it in everyone had their own like mailbox, basically, that at the business, at the office, at the firm. And I put them in everyone's mailbox. I'm talking everyone. Okay? The vice president, the president, the owner, the secretary, the engineers, everyone got it. And I had a picture of him and everything. And we were just talking, and he was like, I wish that I had that article. I wish I would have saved it. I just found it. In my notes from August 20th. 2013. So it was 5 days before my birthday in 2013. There we go. I got a drink. I had to take a drink of my chemicals. All right, I'm going to read it. I didn't even read this prior to hit and record. So we're going to live this together, and I hope that it's as funny as I remember it to be. Because I'm not going to edit this out if it's terrible and I'm like, oh, well, I was misinformed about this. All right. Coworker Trevor, not using his last name. Coworker Trevor, 25, is getting a crotch rocket in order to enhance his sex appeal and join a motorcycle gang. Equipped with a banana seat and lowered to accommodate his Oompa Loompa stature, Trevor, who goes by Teaspoon, hopes to be initiated into the Sons of Silence motorcycle gang, the club which was featured in a 2009 episode of Gangland and heavy into drug and weapons trafficking. Even though one requirement of entrance to the gang is riding a Harley, Teaspoon believes the 1% Motorcycle Club will overlook his crotch rocket and be very impressed with his pleasant personality and mohawk helmet. Convincing himself the gang was misunderstood and a group of guys who mean well, Teaspoon set up an interview with the Sons of Silence. It was at this interview where they took turns beating him unconscious and leaving him for dead. After he was released from the hospital and can walk again without the use of a cane, he hopes to set up another interview, saying, "The fact they didn't make sure I was dead gives me hope I'll still be initiated." We called the Sons of Silence clubhouse and talked to gang member, the Bone Separator, who confirmed all the accusations were true, and was rather shocked that Teaspoon survived, also saying they'd love to set up another interview as soon as he feels better. Teaspoon's long-term living girlfriend he refuses to marry was also in the hospital room. We asked her if she was concerned he would get in a fatal motorcycle accident. She replied, "I am terrified. He's not the motorcycle type. He's very sensitive and emotional." She went on to say, "Every day when he gets home from work, he's so shaken up from the ride, he breathes into a paper sack while crying." Right before we left the hospital, Teaspoon, whose face is bandaged and right leg casted and elevated by rope, excitingly proclaimed with a twinkle in his eye, "Even though I have zero experience driving a high-powered motorized rocket, I can't wait to get back out there and zip in and out of traffic at life-threatening speeds." That's it. That's what I put in there. And I don't know how I don't know how I feel about it. I don't remember any parts of that whatsoever. And I think that a lot of it had context to do with things that were being discussed at that time around the office. So I don't know. Maybe it was funny, but maybe it was one of those things where you had to be there. Either way, I read that. That was for you. That was for you, John Paul. You little buttery biscuit. You little buttery biscuit. Yeah, that was wild working at the Google plant. I mean, our phones have really taken over. You know what's crazy is I woke up this morning and I'm sitting there taking a dump, because that's what we do when we wake up in the morning as humans. I mean, let's not pretend like you weren't doing the same. And then an article, like, I scrolled by, said, "Using the phone while you poop greatly raises hemorrhoid risk." So I'm on my phone doing that, and my phone's telling me I'm going to get hemorrhoids. I mean, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Sit there and take a dump and stare straight ahead at the wall? Flip through a magazine? Flip through a tangible object? I don't think so. That's the thing, man. You don't see anymore like it used to be. Maybe you guys know people like this still. Maybe you know people like this still, that you go to their house and in their bathroom they just have a huge stack of, magazine paraphernalia and propaganda to flip through. Magazines, books, Darwin Awards. That's one of my. I love the Darwin Award books. Something about people dying in ridiculous ways. I think it makes us feel superior. We're like, what an idiot. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Darwin Awards, but it's actually quite hilarious. like one guy, and I think it was played by David Arquette, the guy that played Dewey in Scary Movie. And he just always wanted to go real fast. He was just a dreamer type. He wanted to go zoom zoom. And he had like an old kind of like race car, 2-door car. I don't know what it was, but he got airplane. He got jet engines, and he hooked them to this rust bucket of a Camaro or something like that. And he lived out in the desert. And, his wife was a little bit concerned, or his girlfriend, and was like, like, what are you doing? And he's like, I just want to go fast. That's all I want to do. And I don't know if he talked like Forrest Gump or not, but close enough. And he goes to a very, very flat, long stretch of highway in the desert. And he is going to drive, and he is going to ignite these boosters. And that's what he does. But on both sides of the highway are deserts. It's like little mountains, There's like hills and higher hills, like half mountains, just halvesies. And so he's driving down the straight highway, hits the boosters, rocket ships, starts to veer to the right, hits one of the smaller hills, and just rocket propels into the side of a mountain and explodes and dies. These are based on true events, man. True events. Another great Darwin Award is this guy. Is real important. He's a big shot. Works in a real tall building, and his buddy comes to visit him, and he's bouncing a ball on the window, and his buddy's like, oh, you got to be careful that you don't break that. He's like, dude, these are bulletproof. Nothing that they can break these. Watch this. And he takes a couch cushion from the couch in his office, and he holds it up to his chest and his belly. And he runs and chest bumps the window in order to do a show and tell of how strong the glass is. Except he busts straight through the glass and falls to his death and dies. Hell of a way to go. Hell of a way to go. And then there was another lady that she was rich. This is the last one that I remember. And she was driving an RV. And like another guy that was with her, they're just like, used to having other people do everything for them. But for whatever reason, they had to drive this RV. I can't remember. And she wants to go in the back and hang out with him and have martinis or something. And she just thinks it's like autopilot, like it'll drive itself, like a plane or something. And she just puts it on cruise control and then goes in the back, and it just drives straight into a building, and everyone dies. And that is the Darwin Awards. Whatever, it's the survival of the fittest. But we all know that how stupid, like, ridiculous Darwin is. I don't get it. Like, it's too absurd for me. Like, the earth exploded from nothing, and then we were like fish to frogs to lizards or something. There's something in between, to monkeys to people. Give me a break. Give me a break. Those mutinous creatures. It'd be so incredibly weird. One of the dude, Joe Rogan used to have a great joke about that way back in the day. I don't know what like stand-up special it would be on. I didn't see it on a special or anything. I saw him at the Comedy Store when I lived out in LA, And like, it was probably '02 or '03. And I hung out at the Comedy Store all the time. And I was in the parking lot, and one of the some guy I was hanging out with, he was like, "That is Joe Rogan over there." And Joe is in like there's like a back parking lot area, and the building's kind of L-shaped, and so there's like, you can be like inside that L, and he was like smoking a joint. Just pounding this thing, I remember. So fast, all by himself. And then my buddy's like, let's go watch him. So we went in, and he was in like, I don't remember the name of the rooms. We have the main room, you have the belly room upstairs, like the one, like right when you walk in, that one where they would do the open mics. Like, that's where he was performing at that time, and he was headlining, and it might have been like a Sunday. But dude, he destroyed. I gotta give him credit. Credit where credit is due. Destroyed, dude. I laughed so incredibly hard. And he had a joke about, like, if we evolved from monkeys, where are all the half human, half monkey people? And it was a huge thing, very animated display, and it was damn funny. Yeah, dude, I stayed, this is insane. I stayed at the Comedy Store after it closed with these two dudes. We hid. Okay, it's open till like 2 a.m. or later, and then everybody's got to clean out. And we had a guide, some dude. And there was, I don't remember the guy that like told us that this would be a good idea to explore the Comedy Store when it closed. But the kid that I was with, he was a young kid like me. And he looked a lot like Jim Carrey. Like really, really similar. Very animated too. Very rubbery. Could do stretchy things with his arms. His sockets on his arms could do things that normal sockets on people couldn't do. And so this dude came up to us, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want a tour of the Comedy Store when it closes?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, absolutely I do." So we hid out, dude, and it closed, and we walked through the Comedy Store when no one was there, and went to all the rooms and everything, went upstairs, and we didn't touch anything or anything like that. And then I remember we were going upstairs, and one dude's like, "You smell that? That's sulfur. Those are ghosts." And I'm like, "I don't care at all." I'm like, "I don't smell anything." And, I mean, it was creepy. But I didn't sense ghosts or anything like that. But, then I know we were upstairs, and there was like a little window or like see-through thing where you could see the stage on the main room. And he was like, "This is where gangsters would bring people in for a meeting and then stick Tommy guns out and shoot them." I don't know if any of this is true. Like, this is what this guy was telling me and this other kid. And basically, yeah, like this is where Sam Kinison used to sleep. This is this, and it was pretty cool. Then we went up to the roof. That's right. We went up to the roof and sat on the roof of the Comedy Store and watched the sun come up. Which is wild. And now looking back, I didn't even think of the concept of being arrested. I mean, is it really breaking and entering if you if you never leave? That's the question. Like, did Harry and Marv break and enter into the toy store? That's the question. They were hiding out in the little house until it closed, and then they came out. They were still there. I mean, that has to be a loophole of some sort. But the dude that I do know, I am remembering the guy that gave us the tour. Like, he was crazy. Like now that, not like crazy in the sense of like, oh, like I'm going to pull a shank out, that I made myself and, threaten lives and stuff like that. He was just like, I guess, unhinged. I mean, since he did, suggest that we stay in the comedy club and do it, but he was the kind of dude, he had told us that he had driven by, had his buddy drive him by the Comedy Store and stuck a paintball gun out the window at Eddie Griffin and some others, and that Eddie told him, like, hey man, I know what you're trying to do and this isn't the way to get attention and stuff like that. So I thought that was insane. I mean, I'm only like 19, 20, and I'm like, that is an insane thing to do. Like, as he's telling me the story, like, why would you even do that? And, but hey, man, he offered me a ticket on a cool ride. And it was an offer that I couldn't refuse. I wonder whatever happened to him. I know the Jim Carrey guy, I'm pretty sure he got into meth. He got real weird. Real weird. He didn't have a car. One time I was giving him a ride back. He was a nice kid. I think he was from Canada too. Crazy. And he didn't have a ride home, and I gave him a ride, and then when we were like not even to his apartment, he just was like, all right, I'll get out here, and he got out and ran to a house that looked very questionable. And that might have been the last time I ever saw him, but yeah, everybody knows that hangs out at the Comedy Store, and I haven't been there in a while, or even visited in a while. At least 5 years, maybe 3. And dude, it was insane. Like, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, she would come out, and then I would take her, because you had to go on, and I don't know if this is how they do it now, but you would have to go on a Sunday and wait all day, draw a number, and then if you got a number, like, it was like 30 comics would go up. So if you got 1 through 30, that means then the following Sunday, you get like 3 minutes of time. 3 minutes of time. And so she would go there and hang out with me as I waited to draw my number. And there was just like this one dude came up to her and was like, we still laugh about it to this day. He was like, Ram-a-lama ding dong. Ram-a-lama ding dong. You fine. You hot. And he was a crazy person. But we still do that. Ram-a-lama ding dong. And I had to tell him, like, dude, you stop ram-a-lama ding donging her. No more ram-a-lama ding dongs. And then there was a dude, Crispy Chicken. Wild guy. He got hit by a car. Crossing the street on Sunset Boulevard to go to the Comedy Store. I guess a car hit him. Walked with a limp. I can still see his face. Like it's like some of the details. He was a wild guy. Dude, there was a guy there that didn't have an eyeball, just a socket. And didn't wear an eye patch. So you just had to look in his eye hole when he was talking to you. He was waiting to do stand-up. So I did this for a while, and I did pretty good. I wasn't going to have to, towards the end, right before I moved back, I didn't have to do the Sunday wait for the ticket thing anymore. Just being asked to perform. Got asked to perform at the Ha Ha Cafe without having to jump through the hoops and stuff like that. I was working on the Laugh Factory, but You know, when I left, I was going to go back, but it wasn't for me. That life wasn't for me. I'll get into more of that later. At some other time. I wish I could sing, dude. I wish I could just belt it out. Yeah, dude, the guy at the Laugh Factory, his name was like Jamie or something like that. You would do these open mics, and then you couldn't cuss, and then he would want to talk to you about your act afterwards. I don't know if he does that now. I don't even know if he's still alive. Maybe he is. And so I had asked, I think at the time I was talking, like I had these jokes about Christina Aguilera. I think like her Dirty album came out or something like that, but I couldn't, like he didn't even want you to say the word whore or whatever, so I just kept calling him Dirty. He was like, very fascinating, very interesting take on Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. He's like sitting upstairs in a shadow. I'm like, this is wild. This is a wild time, dude. I am... What's crazy about stand-up now is there's so many YouTube channels out there that they're like news. I don't even know if they're news or gossip channels about stand-up. But I think the most unhinged one of all time is this dude, Unique Entertainment. What, YEWNEEK Entertainment. This dude just hates Brendan Schaub. Because I think some of this is interesting. And plus, like a lot of the people that they talk about are people that I've met or known. And I'm just curious. It's like, all right, what does this outsider, what does this person from the out looking in have to say? Is there any, like, does it make sense what he's saying? I don't know. I had a word, but I can't think of the word. So we're moving on. But every single one of his videos is about Brendan Schaub, and he's just plays clips and then just talks mad shit with a lisp about these people. Like this one is like Brendan Schaub's idiotic take, and then the text overlay on the thumbnail is just he's stupid. And then the one below it, the overlay text, he's insane. And it's like, man, what happened to you? Did Brendan Schaub touch you? Did he take advantage of you? Did he roofie you? Did he sell you to P. Diddy? Did P. Diddy make you do things with oils? Like, what is happening? Joe Rogan exposes Brendan Schaub. He is a liar. I don't know, dude. He had to have done something to like for someone to make this much content. Not only that, okay, dude. 14 hours ago, this dude uploads Brendan Schaub. He's making fun of Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen's Patreon numbers, which, dude, I like Brian Callen. I think I've worked with him a handful of times. I mean, the very first time I did, it was a long time ago. It was when the first Transformers came out, and it was in Columbia, Missouri. I think the club was Deja Vu, and we went and saw Transformers, and then when we got done watching it, he had a phone call from Jeremy Piven, a guy from Entourage, which I thought was cool. And it was around his birthday. And on his birthday, he wanted to go out to eat. So we went to like this really nice restaurant, drank expensive wine, ate like steaks. This is a cool dude. And then I think his character, the gym teacher on The Goldbergs, absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But he's just always been a really funny and nice guy. So, but this guy over here, Unique Entertainment, God, wants it to fail. Dude, he uploads 14 hours ago, some shit making fun of their numbers. And then an hour ago, this dude's already up the next day making hate content about Brendan Schaub. Dude, first thing in the morning when he wakes up. And it says Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen admit their podcast is in trouble. What do you do for a living? Unique entertainment. What happened to you? What did Brendan Schaub do to you as a person? That's too much hate, bro. That's too much hate. And I can't really say anything about Brendan Schaub. I know that he was going to come, it might have been last summer or something. He had a date to come to the Omaha Funny Bone. And I thought it would be fascinating to meet him. So I don't even host anymore. But I was like, I'd host for him. So I asked Colleen, I'm like, yeah, can I? But he canceled. I don't know if he wasn't selling enough tickets or what. But yeah, it never came. But I've never watched any of his, I don't think he does stand-up anymore. He's out of the game. Probably should have never got in. You really got to take a beating for years. You really do. Like, I feel like to some degree, people that are already well-known and then get into stand-up and want to do that, like, I admire that. Because, dude, to already have people know who you are and then risk everything by having to do like 45 minutes. Because it was like Steve-O. I don't know if Steve-O like cut his teeth anywhere, just doing 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It sounds familiar to me like he did. He might have done it the right way. But he was still able to just headline right off the bat because of Jackass. And, when I worked with him, aside from the fact that he lit himself on fire and the guy with the fire extinguisher sprayed him in the face, like, it was rough. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't his fault. Like, he was new at it, trying to figure it out. And, he's a lot better now than that, but that's going to take balls because you really got to put yourself out there. So I don't know. I don't know if Brendan Schaub did that, like took it slow and just worked on like 5 minutes, getting up everywhere. If right off the bat, he was like, I've got 30 minutes. Because that is what he must have done, because his stand-up career seems to have ended in disaster. But he didn't have to quit. He just had to let himself be humbled and then be willing to just work at an act 5 minutes at a time. And he's got to believe in himself. Just like the guy from Reading Rainbow says. All right, this is the Austin Anderson Show. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. If you're listening to this, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. It's got 2 subscribers. I don't care. I don't care if it's 2 subscribers forever. Like, I'm going to keep doing this. But if you are listening to this, if you don't even listen to it on YouTube, just give it a subscribe. Just get me into double digits. Can we get me to 10? Can we get me to 10? All right, thanks. Talk with you tomorrow.